Hi, welcome to another episode of 20 Minutes with Pkay. Every single week, we come to you with this content in order to ensure that your life can be exceptional. Whenever I think about what is the one thing that can make you have a life of impact, my mind is going to this question. What can the presence of this question or the presence of this power in your life would ensure that your life is one of significant achievement. The absence of it will reduce men. And I have come to see that the most important thing to tell people or to teach people is to give them the principles that actually work in life. And so today I'm going to give you this principle that I call the power of no. The power of no. You know, the ability to say no is one of the major things that really differentiate men in our generation. The ability to say no, and what you're saying no to will determine the things you're actually saying yes to. If you see somebody overwhelmed, by life, by circumstances, it's because of the fact that they have said yes to the things that they should not have said yes to. Maybe a toxic relationship, maybe a bad career move, or maybe they've taken decisions that were unwise because they said yes to it. So how do you ensure that your life can be beautiful? How do you ensure that your life can be excellent? How do you ensure that you protect your purpose? How do you ensure that you protect the plan and the purpose of God for your life? I think it's the ability to say no, you know, and what I realize is that if I do not teach you the ability to say no, if no is one of those muscles that you actually do not activate in your life, you would find out that you will not have the strength, the ability, and the character to be able to say yes to the most important things in your life. And so it's important to know what to say no to. It's important to know how to say no, and it's important to build the muscles of no. And if you do not build the muscles of no, you will not become the kind of man or woman of impact that you probably need and your destiny is crying for. So, if I look at the Bible, I look at all the people who have achieved extraordinary results, all the people who have done so well. There have been men who, at one point in their lives, they said no. They said no to some. Look at Jesus Christ. When Jesus Christ was alive, he said no to the fact that they wanted to make him a king so that he could become the King of Kings. And that was very important. Many people don't understand that it's not just about saying yes to popularity, it's about saying yes to your purpose. And if you do not say no to when men are trying to take you off your purpose, then you will never have the capacity to be able to fulfill your potentials. Or look at when the Bible said that Moses left the house of Pharaoh when he was on track to become the king. And he said no to that track so that he could say yes to the purpose of God for his life. It's the same thing every single time. Abraham said no to staying with the familiar, no to staying with Terah in the land in which his father was a wanderer, so that he could say yes to the plan and to the voice of God. Every time you say no, you put yourself in the space to be able to say yes. Yes to what God wishes for you. Yes to what God has planned for you. Yes to what your life is crying for. Look, if you are not achieving the things that you want to achieve, and many people are not achieving the things they want to achieve, it's because they have said yes to the things that they should not have said yes to. I mean, if when you want to get married, someone will ask you, are you willing to marry this person in sickness and in health for everything? You understand? And you say yes. Because what you say yes to will determine the limits of your life. So most times you have to say no to many things so that your yeses are the things that you actually have predetermined and because of the things that you really, really want to do with your life. So I want to talk to you about 8 things in which, in my opinion, are the major things why you should have the power to say no. Because if you do not say no, then you will never become everything God created you to be. And one of the reasons why I do this all the time is because I want God to raise men and women who will become everything God created them to be. I want God to raise men and women who will be influencers of their generation, men and women that will turn the world upside down. I live in a generation in which many people are fickle. Many people do not understand why God created them. Many people just think that they could go with the crowd and have a crown. No, if you go with the crowd, you will never have a crown. Many people have to say no to the crowd so that you could have a crown. And that's important. It's important. And that's why when I would do these teachings, you may not, many denominations have become so limited in the ability to to give teachings that are really Christ-like. And so henceforth, the people do not have the correct food to be able to do everything that God created them to be. So I will talk to you about certain things that the power of no, and 8 things in which it does and what it will do for you. Number one, no back to your freedom. No back to your freedom. If you do not say no, then you will not enter into the freedom to be able to say yes to the things that really matter. For instance, if you do not say no to excessive spending, you will never be able to say no to the things that really matter in life. So you can decide to say no because, for instance, if you don't say no to excessive spending, if you don't say no to spending everything that maybe God has given to you, has prospered you with, you understand, you probably don't have the financial freedom to be able to make investment decisions in life. And that's important to be able to say no. So no, actually back to freedom. You must say no. You must say no to immorality. You must say no to sin. You must say no to iniquity. You must say no to everything so you can say yes to the plan and purpose of God for your life. So many years ago, I mean, when I was in the university, I did biochemistry, and so I studied when I was in my seminar work. I did something called chemical carcinogens. I did an in-depth study of chemical carcinogens. And one day I came home and I told my dad that, this cigarette that you're smoking has maybe 500 chemicals between here and here, 500 pre-carcinogens that will predispose you to carcinogens. And these things are really pure carcinogens. This is a cancer enhancing, so that you should stop cigarette. Because my dad did not say no to cigarette smoking. He probably said yes to cancer. And because he said yes to cancer, I mean, it were the choices he really made with his life. And I mean, it was okay for him to have cancer. I mean, I didn't feel bad. I just knew that he had cancer and it was okay because, those were the choices he made. So and I asked myself, I said, what choice am I making that will predispose me to circumstances that I will not be able to control? So I must be able to say no. So because my no will actually back my freedom to be everything that God created me to be. If I do not say no at the point in which I'm saying no, then I will have no right to have the freedom to be able to say yes to the things that really matter. So if I do not say no to laziness, I will have no right to be able to say yes to discipline and to the greatness that God has planned for me. So actually backs freedom. And what you're saying no to would actually determine the freedom that you actually really would have in life. So, I tell people that if you say no to exercises, you're probably saying yes to illnesses, and your body would be under the pressure of sickness. So you must say no because no actually bats what? Actually bats your freedom. And if you really look at it in life, wherever you're free, it's because you have said no to many things that will actually have stopped your freedom. Now, the second thing in which I believe that no actually does is very simple. That no actually, you must actually say no to excuses so that you can be everything God created you to be. Look, I've looked at life so intensely. I've studied life that people that do not even have the advantages that you have probably made a better use of their life. So there's no disadvantage that you or I presently have that it's supposed to be a rate limiting decision or a rate limiting step towards achieving the greatness that God wants you to have. Sometimes I've seen people without feet do marvelous things, people without hands do marvelous things. So what else do you really want to say? That are people that have infirmities in their bodies, they still turn their lives around. You understand? People that have come from very disadvantageous backgrounds have turned their lives up around. You understand? They've been able to go to the best schools, achieve the most outstanding things in life, not because not because they had any advantages, but because they just said no to excuses. In our country, we've seen someone without slippers become the president of the country. So you have all the slippers, you have all this, you went to the schools. There are really no excuses. And the truth about it is that whatever it is, I like to tell people that I understand the situation, I understand your circumstances, I understand the true things that you're going through. I understand the pain, I understand even the abuses, But the truth is that whether you and I like it or not, ultimately they're all excuses because the people have gone through those stuff and even worse and have still achieved better things with their lives. And so those things will speak as a testimony against us if we say and we leave on those excuses. So we must say no to excuses. What's stopping you from becoming everything God created you to be? What's stopping you from starting that business? What's stopping you from making that decision? What's stopping you from taking that step? What's stopping you from going the whole hog? They're all excuses. What's stopping you from reading that course? What's stopping you from becoming a medical doctor? What's stopping you from being a lawyer? What's stopping you from being an accountant? From retaking your exams? Nothing, nothing. I've seen people who have been stopped 7 times, 8 times before they become a chartered accountant, and yet today they've been everything God created them to be. So it's not. I mean, some of the great, a Nobel laureate, Wale Soyinka had a third class in school. So they're all excuses. You had a third class in school does not stop you from being a world class person in life. You understand? So what are we talking about? So they're all excuses. And I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but I really appreciate the fact that the circumstances that are really terrifying that you're going through. But really, at the end of the day, the truth is, let's call a spade a spade. They're all excuses. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is the fact that if you do not say no to yourself, you will never have the self-discipline to be able to become everything God created you to be. So you must say no to yourself. I mean, that's amazing. The times I look at people who have done things with their lives. They said no to themselves. Look at someone like a Cristiano Ronaldo. I use him as an example because of the fact that, or someone like a Michael Jordan in his heydays, or someone like a Tom Brady when he was playing, or a Kobe Bryant in the basketball. I mean, those people were relentless people with their work ethic. They exercise so much. They did not care about their bodies. They said no to their bodies so that they could say yes to performance at the highest level. I have come to realize that if you and I do not conquer our bodies, we will never be in a position to be able to say yes to the things that really matter. Look, I believe that life is in such a way that we have a spirit, we have a soul, we have a mind, and we have a body. Our body must be subject to our mind, and our mind subject to our spirit, so that we can fulfill the plan and the purpose of God. And if we do not subject our bodies, we will never master anything in life. So our body must be subject to things. So subject, we must never leave our body to food. We must never leave our body to fun, to pleasure. We must never leave our body to just to waste on its own. You understand? We must subject it to different things, and that's how self-discipline comes. We don't give our body everything it wants. We don't give our body the food, the drinks, the sugars, or everything he wants. No, we say no to them, because if we do not say no to them, we enter into a path of addiction. We enter into a path in which we probably will never be able to recover from. So we must say no. We must say no. So I say that you must say no even to yourself. There are many things. For instance, you want to go to school, you're in school, you must say no to your ability to want. Oh, the times you want to sleep. But you say no to sleep so that you can say yes to for a first class result in school. And that's so important, because everybody who is not saying no, is not saying yes to the things that really matter in life. So another thing I want to talk about is that you must say no to others. You understand? That many times people come with their own expectations and their own dreams and their own plans. You understand? And I know, like I use the example of Jesus Christ. People wanted to make him king, and he said no to them because that he had the boundaries. Your purpose will determine the things you will say no to. If you do not know your purpose, then you will say yes to the things that would waste your life. And you must be able to understand that there are many things that the enemy will try to give to you that would be a time waster for you. And so there are no other things for me to say that you say no to others is what actually bats your boundaries in life. You understand? I mean, at times, if Joseph did not say no to Potiphar's wife, he would never have been able to bat the boundary of being able to say yes to the will and the wish of God, that he would never do anything evil so that he will fulfill the plan and purpose of God. We must say no, because in our saying no, we set the boundaries, especially to others. We set the boundaries for our lives, and in other ways, and those boundaries are actually what protects us and what actually prevents us from slipping over or from falling over into dangerous areas. So we must say no to others. We must say no to when others want our attention, our time, when others want our energy, and they only want it at the time that they really want it. Now, one of the things I've done in my life, you understand, which takes a lot of people. I mean, I know it just makes them go bonkers. Is the fact that when I enter into my study, I just drop my phone somewhere and I say no to any call that will come, because you will call me at the time that you want to call me, and you will distract me from calling. And you might just, I mean, there was a day I took someone's call and the person went on for 49 minutes talking to me, and I said, wow, lessons learned. It will never happen again. So I would just drop my phone somewhere because I'm going to say no, so that I could I could be in a position where I could do what God has called me to do, which is ministry of the word and prayer. You understand? So I would say no to that. So anybody who wants to distract me from that. So another thing in which I would say that is that if you must say no to battles that have no rewards. I remember the story of just David. If you remember David, when David wanted to kill Goliath in 1 Samuel chapter 17, the Bible said he was going forward to meet the king, and his brothers came forward and asked him, "Oh, David, you're a naughty guy. Yes, you just want something out of your life." And David looked at his brothers and overlooked them, you know. And the question I want to ask you is that what was the reward of David fighting his brothers? There was absolutely no reward. What was the reward? Nothing. No reward. He probably would have bruised himself. Probably, if the both of them would have injured themselves and they would have gone to the hospital and he would never have been able to face Goliath. But you know what? David said no to a battle that has no reward because there was no reward for fighting his brothers. There was a reward for fighting Goliath. And if he takes out Goliath, what happens to him? He will marry the king's daughter. Beautiful reward. And he would also not pay tax. Much beautiful reward. So what happened? He said no to a battle that does not have reward. Now, so the question is, in your family, your house, your home, I talk to husbands and wife. What is the reason of fighting battles that have no reward? Okay, I'm the man of the house. What's the reward for that? What's the reward of saying, nah. There's so many battles we face and we fight that just no reward. I just wonder why people fight battles without reward. I mean, I just asked myself, I said, this life is too short for me to fight battles that have no reward. If there's no reward in something, I'll just walk off that. Or even if the reward is not significantly encouraging or empowering, walk out of it. There's no need to fight that battle. It's just going to waste your time. So David said no to battles that have no reward, and I so you could face the battles that really have a reward. And in life, defining the battle, that was the battle with Goliath. And because of that, I mean, you and I remember the name of David forever, and David's name is etched in the calendar or in the name of the Israel nation because of what he has done. So if you want to really become an achiever in life, then you must make sure that you fight battles that have only rewards or have significant rewards. Do not fight battles that have no reward. Do not go for battles that there's nothing in it. You understand? Just ego trips. No need. Just leave those battles. They're not necessary. Now, another thing I want you to talk about is the fact that you must say no to inertia. You must say no to not taking action. Too many times I've seen many people have great dreams, but they never take action. In fact, a friend of mine said to me, he said, Kayode, take action even though you're not ready. Just take action. You understand? Because I've seen people stop more by the Newton law of motion. And, Newton law of motion says every object will remain in the same position unless a greater force is applied to it. And I see that too many times people have never been able to take the step of faith because they're afraid. They're afraid what if it doesn't work. But the question is, what if it works? What if it works? What if it works? What if it works? I've seen many talented people never start their businesses. I've seen many people never write a book. I've seen many people who never sing the songs. Just why? Because they believe that it might not work. What if it works? What if it works? What if it becomes um the word bestseller? You understand? I mean, just take it and take it before you're ready. Take it before you're ready. Don't ever think that you must be ready before you get all the answers set. You understand? So I mean, I once watched one guy, Clayton Christensen, and Harvard professor, talk about how people innovate. You understand that they start with imperfection. You don't necessarily need to be perfect to start to do those things that really matter. You just start, and as you begin to start, then you go on. Even this program that we're going through, we just started. We didn't get high blood pressure right day one. But as we're going on, we keep getting the things right. We keep getting better. And the process is what makes you and I happy. So as long as we're making progress, we're fine. So just keep getting better and do not wait until everything is perfect. There will never be a perfect time to start something. There will never be a perfect time to get married. I mean, my pastor, when I was a much younger person, said to me one day, he said, "You will never have a better wedding than the wedding that Prince and Lady Diana had in 1981. And your wedding will not be the worst in the world. So there's no record to keep. So take an action. So I'm talking to someone to, I mean, you're not trying to have the best wedding in town, you understand? And even to have the best wedding in town, that's not guarantee that your marriage will work. So take action. Take the step of faith. Move forward and move on. Now, so the seventh thing I want to talk to you about the fact that you must say no to mediocrity. You must say no to mediocrity. Many of the things, I mean, there was a time that if you look, so let me use this as an example now. Jim Collins, in his book Go to Great, said something that was very instructive. He said, "We do not have great schools because we have good schools." He said, "Good is the enemy of the great." Because many people settle for good, they never become great in life. And so I realized that if we're going to become great people in life, if we're going to become exceptional people in life, then we must say no to just being good enough. We must just say no to just being good enough. We must become the best version of ourselves. So we must keep getting better. And, someone said to me one time, he said, what stops getting better stops getting good enough. So we must just keep getting better. So we must say no to mediocrity. We must say no to just being good enough. We must just keep going on to have the best schools, to have the best churches, as it were, have the best institutions, the best hospitals. I mean, so why must we have all that done? Because we're going to say yes to the things that really, really matter in life. And when we say yes to things that really matter in life, then we're positioning ourselves for the greatness that God has planned for you and for me. Now, I will not leave you with this without talk to you about the fact that saying no to distractions is probably the thing that will protect and preserve your purpose in life. We live in a world full of distractions presently today. In Nehemiah chapter 6 from verse 1 to 3, the Bible talks about Sanballat and Tobiah that wanted to come and distract Nehemiah, the work he was doing. And all they were trying to do was that because Nehemiah was trying to build something great. And that talks to me about you that you're trying to build maybe a great church, or a great school, a great institution, a good business. There'll always be people that want to come and try you. And the enemy's plan is not, over time I've tried to realize that the enemy's plan is just to try to distract you, because once he can distract you, he reduces or he takes you towards division. And once he diverts your energy, he probably wastes you. So these guys, Tobiah and Sanballat, wanted to come and take Nehemiah out of the plan and purpose of what he was doing. And Nehemiah was building the wall, and he was building the walls. He was building the walls. He was doing a great job. So in verse 3, Nehemiah was now said to them and responded to them very instructively. He said, "I'm doing a great work. I cannot come down." And I realized that if you have a plan and a purpose towards God, you must understand that you must say no to distractions. You must say no to anything that wants to take you away from the plan. And let's try to distract you from the purpose of God for your life. And it's instructive to understand that nothing must stop you going forward. The plan of the enemy is to distract you. Have you ever woken up in the morning to start scrolling down Instagram? I realized one guy said recently that Instagram was an invention of the devil. I said, you just start scrolling Instagram and 5 hours will pass. I bet you, if you don't spend 5 hours in prayers, you probably will think about something differently. So it tells me one thing, that whatever is pleasurable is easy, but whatever is hard is first of all difficult. You understand? So if you want to have a hard life, you make it pleasurable initially. But if you want to have an easy life, then you go through the hard one. So, and it's the purpose of it all is very simple. Just make up your mind that you will say no to distractions, and you can able to fulfill the plan and the purpose of God for your life. So at the other side of impact, at the other side of exceptional living, at the other side of greatness, at the other side of the kind of greatness that you want is your ability to say no to immaterial things. You must prioritize the things that really matter most. You understand? If you just, not all things matter equally, you must understand that the things that matter most must not be left at the discretion of the things that matter least. So everything must be done to protect the major purpose of your life, of your marriage, of everything that really matters to you. You understand? So you must face it, and you must face it. And that starts by the power of saying no. I tell men, you must say no to other women so you can say yes to your wife. I tell women, you must say no to other men so you can say yes to your husband. I tell people that you must say no to distractions so you can be able to fulfill the plan and purpose of God for your life. The enemy will try to distract you so that you will have no time, no energy, and no attention. Because those are the three things, and you have that are limited. And without your time, your energy, and your attention, you can never fulfill anything in life. You understand? Because where your attention goes, your energy goes. Where your energy goes, your time goes. And where your time goes, your life goes. So on the other side of greatness is your power to say no. Wow. So today I want just to leave you with this, and I'm going to say that, you know what, it's time to say yes to the things that really matter. by learning to say no to the things that are distracting you, to things that want to stop you, to the things that want to stop your freedom, to the things that want to reduce your ability to say yes to the things that really matter to you. So I welcome you to the club of saying yes so that you be able to fulfill the plan and purpose of God for your life. Is that, and I hope you will join us in order to say yes. Let's say yes to God's plan. Let's say yes to God's wish. Let's say yes to God's word. Let's say yes to God's ways. And ultimately, we will say yes to destiny. Wow. God bless you. See you same time next week. The Lord keep you. In Jesus' name.